We are not chasing money. Like if I'm able to run a half marathon or full marathon when I'm 65,
That is a big.
because at that age money will not matter. My physique will be my wealth. आजकल बैंगलोर में हमारे दोस्त हैं ऐसे जहाँ पे they have 5 house helps. You know, a driver, a cook, a lady to clean the house,
Walk the dog.
walk the dog, and that is crazy. That is still okay. You can delegate all your tasks, but we cannot delegate the upbringing of our child. That's something we did not want to do. Most important trigger for me was water. People would agree in Bangalore, water quality in some areas are really poor.
We are stressing on water because it's 70% of our body, and we are completely ignoring that, and we are checking our network in terms of the money we earn or our package. All these things somehow accumulated to us being in Rishikesh.
We work on our physique. She does yoga, I do running. We take a dip in the Ganga every now and then. That keeps us calm, and we also meditate every day. That keeps us grounded. My name is Vineet Joshi. I belong to a lower middle class family and Gujarati family. So जैसे लोग सुनते हैं अरे यार तू गुजराती है तो सोचते हैं कि यार तेरे पास तो बहुत पैसे होंगे, ठीक है? But yeah, that was not the case. I was born in Patna, Bihar, and did my schooling from Jamshedpur. So I started working very early. When I was in class 8, I used to take tuitions, English tuitions for juniors. And after my 10th, I moved to Bangalore, 2004 mein, and I was 16 then. And the idea to move to Bangalore was predominantly to find work, but parallelly also complete my education. Coming to Bangalore was a big thing for me. I think what I instantly fell in love with was the weather. That is the common thing that anybody comes to Bangalore. But over a period of time, I also saw a very different culture in Kannadigas. She calls me a half Kannadiga. But yeah, I picked up the language as well. I love Kannadigas. I love Bangalore in every way possible. So it's not like I don't like Bangalore and that's why I moved to Rishikesh. It's not at all like that. I really miss Bangalore sometimes because of the people. I think Bangalore and Kannadigas are the most friendly and
Decent people.
open-minded people across India. I worked as a waiter initially, worked in the sweet counter packing sweets, slowly moved into a cashier's role where I was managing the entire restaurant in the owner's absence. So that was a main trigger point for me because at an age of 17, a very tender age, I had staff, about 30 odd staff in the restaurant from Rajasthan, from UP, of course, local Kannadigas and Tamilians, and it was a whole mix. And these are all guys who are mostly above my age. And then, you will always have this. There was one guy who walked up, and there were a couple of such instances which happened where I would talk in Hindi or English, and this guy would say, "Hey, Kannada gottilla nimge, Kannada baralva. Illi vyapar madbekandre Kannada barbeku." Then that was like a trigger for me, and I always used to face this same kind of problem with auto walas as well. So I used to go buy veggies in Yashwantpur Yard early morning 6 for the restaurant, and then that's where I picked up the language. Flirting with those aunties and just in a fun way, just picked up the language and yeah, and I think learning a language should not be a barrier for anybody. Whether you are in Punjab or you are in Tamil Nadu, or we are Indians, and we should be really proud of that. And that's something that I learned and realized over the years. So yeah, that was my early years in Bangalore. And then I completed my degree from distance. So 2006, I joined Converges. It was a call center, and yeah, my first salary was about 8,000 there, and 1.5 lakh CTC. I still remember getting a Nike T-shirt for $800, which was a big deal for me at that time. So yeah, those were the beginnings I had. I spent about 4 years in Converges. So 2010 was our turning point in my life. I made a switch to another company, Cognizant, and there I got about 100% hike, which is, I was blessed to get that. But I came from a family where we never owned a house. So my idea was to, ensure that we buy a house. And 2010, I bought a residential site in Bangalore, which I'll talk about later. So Cognizant, I spent about 4 years again. I became a team leader, started managing teams across locations. And at that time, my age was just like 22, 23 years old. So 2014, I joined FedEx, logistics company in sales. But then in FedEx, I met her. And then 2018, I got my next big break where I got a promotion and moved to Pune. And there was again a 100% hike internally within the organization. So there were multiple junctures in my career so far, almost 20 years of WorkX, where I've got a 100% or 150% hike. And I was leading a team of about 40 odd people there. And from FedEx, I moved to Clio Software, where I'm currently working. In 2021, we moved from Pune to Bangalore. And yeah, so I've worked in multiple locations, worked in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune. And yeah, right now I'm in Rishikesh. So I got a work from home option. Through the journey, some plans have not worked. And now I've realized that, if some plan doesn't work, it is for my best. I always wanted to secure a house for my family. So that was my first investment. 4 years of work experience, I had saved about 3 odd lakhs. I had also started an SIP just because someone from the bank called me कि यार कर लो SIP, अच्छा होता है mutual funds. I didn't know anything about mutual funds at that time, but 1,000 रुपए की एक SIP कर ली थी. So I had about 40 odd thousand sitting in SIPs after 4 years. And PF में, because I switched job and I got a 100% hike, I also withdrew my PF. And that time, that you were allowed to withdraw PFs, unlike now. So I withdrew about 90,000 there. And all in all, I had about 5 or 6 odd lakhs. I took a loan of 10 lakhs, a personal loan, because land पे बहुत जगह पे loan नहीं मिलता था. And I borrowed about 5 odd lakhs from my parents, 4-5 lakhs. So all in all, about 18-19 lakhs is what I paid for the land. And I kept on working, kept on paying that EMI. That was my first investment. And then stock markets happened very late, very, very late. So, I mean, I continued my SIP also. But from time to time, जैसे मैंने बोला कि मेरे को बिल्डिंग बनाना था, घर बनाना था. तो घर बनाने के लिए वापस फंड्स की रिक्वायरमेंट हुई, SIP तोड़ दिया. ठीक है, साइट लेना था तो SIP तोड़ दिया. शादी करनी थी, SIP तोड़ दिया. और उसके बाद बीच में यूरोप जाना था, तो SIP तोड़ दिया. तो ऐसे फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम आई केप्ट ऑन ब्रेकिंग माय SIPs without realizing the mistake that I was doing, right? Stock market happened in 2018. I bought first 2 stocks that I bought was Yes Bank and Tata Motors. ठीक है, Yes Bank और Tata Motors दोनों ही falling knives थे. 180-200 के भाव पे लिया और वो गिरते गए 2018 से 2020 तक Yes Bank was 5 rupees, So luck was on my side because my exposure was not too much. अगर ज़्यादा पैसे लग गए होते तो अभी शायद हम ये शूटिंग नहीं कर रहे होते.
शुरुआत में मल्टी बैगर्स ढूंढते थे. 1 महीना भी नहीं हुआ था. He was very confident he will close his loan within 6 months by finding a multi bagger.
Over
He was
optimistic.
very confident about.
Yeah, but there was nobody to guide, and market की fees बहुत high होती है. So I disposed my property in Bangalore because we had plans to move, and some capital flew in from there, and also I had like enough savings. So abhi, right now what I do is a full-fledged, I manage my own portfolio, my family's portfolios. So I have a framework that eventually I learned, with experience, burning not my fingers, burning my hands. Now I don't even do SIPs. I've stopped all my SIPs. I do lump sum investments. So I park some funds for SIPs and I kind of do it in an aggressive mode where markets are at low, buy cheap. Right now, I have about 45% of my portfolio in direct stocks, equity, and 35% odd would be in real estate. 11% in gold and 11% in mutual fund. And if you ask me about how much I park every month, I say about 40,000 rupees. If we talk about net worth, the smile on her face is also my net worth, right? If she keeps smiling, my net worth keeps on going up. But what I feel is there are 2 kinds of people out there, and this is human nature. If I say that I have, say, 1,000 crores right now or X crores, whatever, people who have more money than me, उनको ऐसा लगेगा यार ये छोटा आदमी क्या बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहा है ना. और there's this other set of people जिनके पास मेरे से कम पैसे होंगे, उनका ध्यान, उनका जो attention है, that will directly come to that number, right? Instead of understanding the framework that we are about to share. That has worked for us. तो वो jealous हो जाएंगे या envy हो जाएंगे. This is like human nature. So you know that I'm not bluffing here. But my first salary was 1.5 lakhs in corporate, and right now I'm paying about 4x income tax of that. So you can kind of take a guess. But yeah, I do want to share a little bit of uh, detail about the framework, right? So basically, there are 4 pillars that we both think work for us in a framework, right? Uh, First is your physique, your physical health, this body. Second is your mental peace, your mental health, your peace of mind. How calm can you be, in a situation like COVID, where people were selling? I also sold, but I've learned to be a calmer person. How well do you manage your relationships is a third one, and then the work that you do. I feel this is a framework, and then money is a byproduct. You take care of these 4 things, money will just flow in. It's organic. It's the nature of universe.
When you do not count your net worth only in money, how universe starts up being there for you in a way where
In magical ways.
you wouldn't have imagined, or you can't just put a number to it within a year or so.
Money is a very important pie of the pizza, which we need to solve. That's why we are all here. So when I solved it in the process, right? Well, now, like I gave an example of a guy who works in urban company coming to clean your house, and I strike up a conversation with him, and he was not a Bangalorean. He was from outside. So I asked him, like, what are you doing here? And you look decent. He looked like a model. He was from Jammu. So now it's been 3-4 years now. This guy is still in touch with me, and I gave him some financial advice. I asked him to open a demat account, put some money in good stocks, or do SIPs, and he started that. And right now this guy is sitting in Azerbaijan. He got a job there. So when he called me up to share that, it was a big achievement for me, I mean, in a way. So I try to give a lot of people this advice that, start investing, start somewhere, pick up a job. Even if you're studying, pick up a part-time job, because you have to earn. You're 18, that means you have to own your stuff, right? So yeah, I kind of picked this up, spreading financial literacy. I have a passion for that. I really want to serve my nation in some way, and I think this is one way to serve, because there are millions of people out there right now who don't know what to do with money, right? And their whole life goes in solving that one pie of the pizza, and they're not able to enjoy the other, sides of life. Save a little bit, take baby steps, and then try to achieve your big dreams, right? क्योंकि बेसिक्स नहीं डामाडोल होने चाहिए, क्योंकि once your foundation is gone, there's no question of you thinking big and achieving 1 CR 10 CR. खाने के पैसे नहीं है तो फिर तुम कैसे वहां तक जाओगे ना?
For example, the shirt I'm wearing today was bought 12 years ago for my campus placement. Actually, it does not look like, but you don't have to buy new things to satisfy a societal hunger for lifestyle. We still own an Alto. Even if we go and our network will rise in 100 or 200 crores, जब तक ऑल्टो चल रही है हम लोग बहुत खुशी से उसमें
जब तक इंडियन गवर्नमेंट उसको बैन नहीं कर देती, चलाते रहूंगा उसे.
नहीं, the whole point is not chasing lifestyle dreams and spending 5-10K usually in a pub or a bar with friends as a combined thing is not a big deal at all now, which is something we do not relate to at all. And that is why we moved to Rishikesh. So that is where survival और अपनी बसड़ हम खुद ही create करते हैं अपनी lifestyle up ले जाकर.
What I realized is what worked for me. I started buying buying good companies at a cheap valuation. That is my first thing that I look for. Generally prefer companies that are about north of 5,000 crores market cap. Finding good companies at cheap valuations, that is the first thing. Second would be finding monopoly stocks, asset light businesses which are cash rich, and investing there. And then the last thing would be sector rotation. From time to time, the big sharks are moving their money from markets, indexes, stocks. All of that is happening all the time, right? So if metals are rallying right now, so it's a cyclical sector, right? And the rally would certainly end somewhere. So if I think a sector has become too frothy, and if I ride it for a decent amount of time, say 1.5 years, I at least take out my capital and then let the profits ride. And then when I feel it's way too much, there's mayhem, I take out all the money and probably move to another sector. Like right now, chemical sector is pretty much on the lower side. So I've started to diverge, some funds in the chemical sector in good companies.
And here, when you're talking about thing, maybe you can give also examples for a layman like me. Monopoly stocks, or you're taking sectoral things and all those things. How, I mean, I don't understand how will you identify the sectoral shift and all these things.
Yeah, basically, I feel what some of the stocks where I was able to ride the rally, so I bought it at a high price, and then I realized, so price is a slave, right? Price is a slave. There are underlying factors that drive the price, but we are only focused on the price. कि अरे भाई इस भाव पे लिया है इतना जाएगा. But you need to understand the underlying factors which support that rally upwards or downwards, right? So when you identify a business which makes sense to you, and you don't need to listen to the noise, the news, right? If the company is good, you believe in the fundamentals and technicals, everything is screaming, it's a screaming buy. And you, at that time, if you position size matters, if you just buy say 10 stocks of that company, or if you have only 1% of your entire portfolio's exposure in that stock, it would not make any difference. So at that time, we need to roll our truck, backwards, fill up as much as you can, buy in huge quantities, and then have the courage to ride that rally. So basically, I follow a couple of patterns that I've mastered. So there are many patterns out there, right? What works for me is a rounding bottom pattern, a falling wedge. So a price goes up, there's a fall, and then there's consolidation. So there are two kinds of corrections that most of us know. One is price and one is time, right? So price correction could be there, like a stock falls 50-60%. And if I invest there, I need to also understand that there can be a time correction of 1 or 2 years which can follow after that, where big people are buying money in small chunks, eating food like a sparrow, right? So you don't want to be an elephant right up front, right? You keep adding sizable chunks from time to time, and then just let it be. When it's 2x, generally what I do is I take out my initial capital, and then I ride the rally further up with my profit money. And some of that, like if I see there's an evergreen stock that has been doing really well for 10-20 years, I would just leave that money for my child, leave it, park it there. Like for example, Bajaj Finance, it has been consolidating for 3 years now, and recently there's a breakout which came, so I've been loading up that stock like crazy for last say 1 odd year. And right now, when it gave me about 60-70% return, I kind of booked, at least took my capital out. I try to keep it very simple. There are friends of mine who are using AIs and algos and whatnot and trying to make big money. But I try to keep my life simple and peaceful. So basically, I track, as I said, the first thing is market cap. So I track companies which are 5,000 crores and above. And then the PE ratio for sure. I look at the top line and bottom line. So if a company is making sales, sales growth is steadily growing, but that is not reflecting in the net profit, then there is a skewed data that you have, right? Both things are not correlated, or it is correlated, but they're not matching up. Then it's a big red flag for me, right? And then the book value also, the price to book ratio is something that I look at. My favorite is return on capital employed, ROCE. So I generally look at companies which are having a ROCE of 30% and above. So, and the last would be the shareholding pattern.
When we talk about shareholding, he goes into each and every mutual fund which he likes, which has given say good returns over the past few years. He goes into their books and sees which are the pattern they followed. But he further dives it in promoter's profile also. If promoter is in contact, or if he is, for example, I'm not naming one promoter, but he's a contractor and he had past MLA history and politician. He deep dive so much, so now he knows. अभी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन गया, लेकिन इसका एमएलए से भी कनेक्शन था, तो इस कंपनी में पैसा आएगा. And then he also checks his order book, then he checks order book, and then he checks, oh, big KDRs and all that has bought recently in quarters, and all that he completes the whole loop for it.
If I had to conclude, मुझे लगता है price correction instills fear, and then time corrections test your patience. तो दोनों तरह से मार्केट आपको टेस्ट करता है, पहले डरा देता है और फिर रुला देता है. ठीक है. Earlier I followed a lot of YouTube channels, to be honest, and कहीं ना कहीं गलतियां भी हुई. you know, जैसे जब मार्केट कोविड में 8,000 पे था निफ्टी, तो there was a YouTube channel, मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा, but you know, I used to blindly, religiously follow that uncle. And you know, that guy said, अरे यार मार्केट तो 6,500 जाएगा. गया मार्केट यहाँ से तो 4,000 भी जा सकता है. हर दिन वो रात को 8 बजे आ जाएंगे और एक ही ज्ञान देंगे. तो when you listen to someone, you know, over a period of time, रोज your neurons are also building, and you're trying to, ultimately I acted upon, मतलब my son was born exactly in March during COVID. I was sitting in the hospital, such a happy moment for me, right? Beautiful moment in life. But I'm looking at my portfolio, छोटा सा ही था उस वक्त, लेकिन portfolio बच्चे के जैसा. लेकिन जब उसमें मैं देख रहा हूँ कि 70% फॉल है, तो अंकल की बात सुन के मैंने सारा माल बेच दिया. And I was holding good stocks, but I just cut all my positions. So that's the thing. Like, ultimately, you should listen to everybody, but build your own consensus and have your own strategy in place. Understand your own temperament and just do your own thing. And then you can cut. And that's where spirituality and your inner grounding kind of comes into picture, right? How calm are you in a storm? I really feel we wanted to get away from a city life. Nothing wrong with Bangalore. Bangalore, as I said, I absolutely love Bangalore. If there's some way, you know, I could devote some time to clean the city and do something for Bangalore, I would always love to do that.
We used to stay comfortably in KR-Puram. Logistically also, it was okay where he used to work in Indranagar. I used to work on Ring Road.
Yeah.
So logistically, it was convenient. Thinking about the metro city, we were on the same side. Our office and everything was on the same side.
But यार 2-3 घंटे तो
But
लग ही जाते थे
still,
travel.
we used to take 3 hours in peak hours. If we leave after 9:30, we used to take 1.5 hours to reach our homes.
कार में ही बुड्ढे हो रहे, बाल सफेद हो जा रहे, गाड़ी चलाते.
KR-Puram का bridge था वो, जो which is still a nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the other thing, I think, since you mentioned triggers, you know, the most important trigger for me was water.
Water. Yeah, I
Water
was
quality
coming
was
to that.
very, very hard
Yeah.
in some of the areas. And you know, you will have those scales forming in your buckets, in the pipes of the building. People will lose hair. You do like this and you will be like, nahate nahate aadhe baal zameen pe hai.
Really common, I think.
Yeah, it's very common. People would agree in Bangalore, water quality in some areas are really poor. Basically, what we are trying to say is we did not want to compromise with basics. And basic, I'm talking about the air quality index or the water quality, right? These are basics. And when you have a child and when you see that life, which matters most to you, exposed to such things, you know, बच्चे छोटे बच्चे बस में 2-2 घंटे जा रहे हैं ट्रैफिक में, you know, to go to school. अरे भाई ऐसा नहीं पढ़ाना हमें. That was our call. So that was one of the biggest trigger, I feel. And also at the same time, last year, like we have been very trying to be spiritual. We started meditating and we got associated with a couple of ashrams.
And also, thirdly, I would say education of the kid. Your education in terms of infrastructure, basic primary education is very well. What we will get there
at 1/3 of the cost.
At 1/3 of the cost. His primary fees here is what, 35,000-36,000 for a year.
And his friends, the parents there, when we are in touch with them, so they are paying about close to 1,80,000 for LKG. हमने 2 लाख में पूरा 10 तक पढ़ाई कर ली भाई. मतलब हम क्या ही अचीव कर लेंगे इतना सारा पैसा देके. So we really didn't find any value in that. And plus, the most interesting thing is on a personal side. अभी जब we moved to Rishikesh, I actually took a pay cut. I was in a team leading position. I stepped down. I took a demotion, which not a lot of people who are ambitious about their careers would do at the peak of their career, right? We really wanted to strike that balance and took that pay cut and we came here. So I work on my physique. We work on our physique. She does yoga. I do running. I don't run much these days because I had a leg injury, but I try to run at least about 5 kilometers, every alternate day, and then 10-15 kilometers over the weekend. And we take a dip in the Ganga every now and then. That keeps us calm, and we also meditate every day, so that keeps us grounded.
I never knew my child had so much potential. He's doing advanced level yoga now. He's just 5.5 years old, and he's trying to do. And he's not doing that 100%, but he's just started advanced level yoga. So there are so many things which are achievement now, which one we couldn't have thought of then. So yes, I feel more content here.
Right now, even the wealth that we are trying to create, or the corpus that we are trying to build, we are trying to keep it very, very tangible. Anything that I don't understand, I don't venture into it. So eventually, we want to reach a point where we are able to financially, support some of the organizations, like some of the ashrams or gaushalas which are running on our Vedic principles. We want to be serving them. We want to be bringing financial literacy as much as possible with whomever we are brushing our shoulders with in our journey. Yeah, that's my 10-year goal.
To be of service.
To be of service.
In a way, wherever we can find, and in a way where we don't have to think about our expenses before, funding a big organization. One thing.
Like if I'm able to run a half marathon or full marathon when I'm 65.
That is a big thing.
Because at that age, money will not matter. My physique will be my wealth.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, we are trying. That's our goal. We are not chasing money.
And
money is important, but we are not. I mean, we can't talk about spirituality to a beggar, right?
In a short term, for money, we are growing at least 30% every year in terms of physical assets. Yeah. Materialistic wealth, our goal is yearly grow 30%, which is way above inflation, and have long-term physical and spiritual goals.
And serve the nation, because India is one of the best countries that if you're in India right now, there's chaos, there's corruption, there's all kind of nonsense going on. But when you look at your platter, यार 10 टाइप की तो हमारे पास दालें हैं. यूरोप में लोग मैदा और मीट खा रहे हैं. So dairy is sorted here. So I think serve the nation in every way possible.